Welcome, everybody. This is Our Yard Podcast, episode number 12. Holy moly, I can't believe we made it this far. Listen, y'all, we got a good one. This is our double episode day. Hell, we might even do another one if you've been good for us, kitten. This is, we're going to do our 5 favorite bands and do our top favorite bands with our 5 favorite songs and honorable mentions from each band. With that being said, we're going to get into it right after this. All right, now, Trevor, Swaggy T,
Sure.
we're going to pop this off real quick. I reckon I can start her off.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to do, so this is just kind of goes along with people sending in ideas and requests, and we're like, hey, fuck it, we gotta be there for the people. So here we are, and it's just like something I came up with. I was like, hey, we can just do our favorite bands, do our favorite songs from the bands, and I'm just gonna tell y'all beforehand, this absolutely tore my fucking heart up, and my answers might be different and on a different day for certain songs because I was just having to pick stuff, for the episode. So we'll get right into it. My fifth favorite band or artist of all time is Taking Back Sunday. Most of y'all probably know who they are. Emo band, like emo, hard rock, like all that good stuff. They're the first band I ever. They're the first band I ever got into by myself. I found them from Madden 07 in 2006 on the GameCube. I was playing it and I heard the song Spin, and I was like, it locked me in. I was like, okay, I'm into this. So then I went and started. My dad, we went and got the CD from Album Alley, and I just been a Taking Back Sunday fan ever since. So, with that being said, I'm going number 5. My favorite song is Timberwolves at New Jersey off the first album, Tell All Your Friends, in 2002. My fourth favorite song of theirs is Spin. But like I just talked about, is the first song I heard from them, and it's what kick-started everything. Is number three is Miami, which is off that same album from 2006. Louder Now. That is like Miami is that's a big banger. Like if you like any Taking Back Sunday and you want to hear, something like if you're a fan of them anyways, or you like them decent enough and you want to get into it, like that's a song that'll grab you and it'll like it can get you put in there. And my second favorite song from them is Best Places to Be a Mom from their self-titled album in 2011. Man, that's a heartfelt song. It's good. Like it's my second for a reason. Like I think people, just check that one out. And my number one, because I'm a sad boy, is off the 2014 album Happiness Is. Better Homes and Gardens, because I have 6 ex-wives and that song just speaks to me and reminds me of them. So, when she took that ring off and threw it at your feet, I can't do it anymore. But that's my 5 favorite. And then my honorable mention is literally every fucking other song they have. I don't like Taking Back Sunday doesn't have a bad, like they have nothing but bangers to me. They're just straight fire. I mean, that's my 5th favorite artist of all time. Y'all go, if y'all into them, if y'all listen to them, you can check them songs, go, listen to the albums. Like, if you're into emo, hard rock, like, you'll find a song in there for you.
That's
That's
some good
what I can
shit.
say about it. Who you got? T? Who you got? Swaggy T.
Before I get into my fifth favorite artist, I want to quickly shout out two bands actually. First band is little Canadian jazz punk band or progressive punk, whatever you want to call it. Don't let the genre fool you. It's some damn good shit. It's a band called No Means No. If you appreciate bass guitar, it is, and you like punk, he's, in my opinion, he's probably the most talented. John Wright is probably the most talented punk bassist I've ever seen in my life. Dude is insane. I recommend Rags and Bones as a song, and the intro and outro of the podcast is by a band that me and Harley especially, have a very special connection with called Rudy's Gherkin. They are a German metal band that only ever put two albums out, and I would just check out the entire Rent Your Suicide album on Spotify. Highly recommend. But my fifth favorite artist of all time is Tyler the Creator. And I know y'all are probably thinking, "Oh, he's popular. We expect." No, I don't give a damn. He's good. Um, First time I ever heard him, as well as probably everybody did, was Yonkers, and I saw the video him eating a cockroach and hanging himself, and I was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" Because I was like 15, and you know, 15-year-old kid trying to be edgy as hell. It's like, yeah, this is for me. But I actually appreciate a lot of his newer stuff more. And my fifth favorite song from him is "What a Day" from the "Call Me If You Get Lost" estate sale that came out this last year in 2023. It is it's a Mad Lib beat, and Mad Lib's probably my second favorite rap producer of all time, and highly recommend checking that out. My fourth favorite song is actually a three-part song, because he'll have double songs. It's usually the 10th song of every album he does, at least since Wolf, and this was the first one he did. And my favorite, it's just "Party Isn't Over" slash "Campfire" slash "Beamer," and he just takes you on a roller coaster of emotions the entire song, and highly recommend checking it out. It's a bit lengthy, but it's worth it. My third favorite song is my favorite song from Goblin, "She," featuring Franklin of the Sea, Frank Ocean. And if you haven't heard this, it's like a very, it almost kind of fools you. It's like one of those, it's a stalker song that almost feels like a love song until you actually just listen to it just a little bit. And it's a great introduction to his softer stuff. My second favorite song from him is also from the estate sale, "Sorry Not Sorry." When I first heard this song, it blew me the fuck away. Um, he just breaks his entire career down to like face value for you to look at it on yourself, and he's apologizing for some things, and then he's saying "I'm not sorry" on a lot of it, and just takes you through all of it. Getting mad, pretty much like letting people know it's like, I don't understand why you got mad at me for changing. Everybody's supposed to change, and it's a very valid point. It's a very beautifully put together song. My favorite song from Tyler the Creator though is probably "Massa," just from the straight "Call Me If You Get Lost" album. If you can't tell, I tried to break it down between different albums, but that was very hard for me, because "Call Me If You Get Lost" is just such a phenomenal album that, I mean, honestly, I could have made the whole top five songs from that album and the estate sale, but I tried to break it up a little bit. But Massa is another one of those, just breaking down his career at a face value, except it's a bit more intense, and highly recommend it. Um, Honorable mention songs from him. I recommend listening to "New Magic Wand" from Igor, um, "Boredom" from Flower Boy, and "Tamale" also from Wolf. And with that being said, Harley will give you his fourth favorite.
Honestly, this one, this might have been the hardest one for me yet. Was my fourth. It was my fourth favorite artist of all time. Is Rush. And oh boy, I was struggling with this because I've been listening to Rush my whole life, and I'm like, and I love all these albums. Like, I know my favorite album is Roll the Bones, but I've never thought, oh, what's my favorite song from Rush? Honestly, and until I got to having to make this list, I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to pick one. Uh, so with that being said, starting off, is number five is the Manhattan Project from Power Windows in 1985. That is a like some people listen to Rush like, oh, 80s Rush sucked, whatever, fuck you. Like listen, if you're one of them that just hate the 80s Rush because it's like synthesizer or whatever, like you need to. It's definitely worth it. Like there's actually good stuff in there in that catalog. It's not bad by any means. Which I think all of it's good. The only album from back then I think is weak is Grace Under Pressure. I can't get it. I haven't been able to get into that album. Maybe one day it'll click with me, but other than that, 80s wrote like Power Windows, Manhattan Project off there. It's a beautiful written song. It's Geddy Lee writing like Neil Peart writing lyrics. Like I don't understand how it could go bad. So, my fourth favorite song is Animate off the 1993 album Counterparts. Boy howdy. 90s Rush is my favorite. I will go ahead and say that. And it's because I don't know exactly, like it's just resonated with me more than any other era of theirs. But yeah, like Animate, like Getty's bass tone, like Getty's bass playing just seemed to get better every album. And that tone he had on Counterparts was out of this world. And Animate, it just starts off with his bass playing. It's like, holy shit, what's he doing? Like he's going dumb. And that's number four. Number three is Neurotica off of Roll the Bones, which, like I said before, that's my favorite album. Neurotica, just it's just the day, like it's catchy. It really is a catchy. Like if you get to listening to it, you just be like, it'll get stuck in your head like an earworm. Like I don't know how to explain. It's just beautiful. Like I love that song. And plus, like with all of Rush's songs, like they all have, there's always a message in them. There's always good stuff, like stories or what it like. You can find something. You know, it's everything is very like well written from like because Neil did most of the lyrics. Was Getty did a lot, but like most of it was predominantly Neil, and of course like Alex, like his guitar playing is phenomenal. Like especially on the erotica, like guitar solo, low. It's a banger. Like it's a sleeper. Um, my second favorite song from Rush, I picked 2112 because I can't have a Rush list with like favorite songs list without 2112 in there. I mean, there's not much to say. It's 20 minutes and I can't remember the say. It's over like it's 20 minutes long. It's one of the it's looked at as one of the best masterpieces of music of all time, like in hard rock or rock, progressive, whatever you want to say it is. It's a badass song. It's like it's hard to believe because it's like it's 20 minutes, but it's not boring. Like there's seven parts. Is like it keeps you like it never seems like it doesn't seem like it's 20 minutes by any stretch. Like it's if you haven't heard it, just go. Plus, you could just go to that album, play from top to bottom, and it's a bank. Like that's one of the best albums. That's probably my second. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's one of my favorite albums of theirs. Um, and then the number one song from Rush, I had to pick "The Pass." Shout out my cousin Josh. He when I got because I'll go through these phases that I listen to Rush and I'll listen to him like go through I'll just start going through albums. And one time he sent me the pass. He's like, hey, don't forget this banger. I listened to it, and he told me, he said, yeah, this is probably the best song. He's like, this is the best song ever written. Like, in his opinion, and Rush is his favorite band. He's like, that's probably my favorite Rush song ever written. It's just, of course, like I said, it's well written. It's beautiful. Like, just, I listen to it. I'm like, my God, like it'll hit the whole heartstrings for you. The pass off of Presto, definitely one. Like, if you enjoy Rush in any form, like, check that song out. You won't regret it. And my honorable mentions for Rush songs, like once again, like, you can go whatever. It don't matter. Pick an album. I'll just say, like, just a few off the top of my head. I got Witch Hunt off of Moving Pictures. Entre Nous off of Permanent Waves. Jacob's Ladder off Permanent Waves. Xanadu is a really great song. Hold on, whoa. Another one I like is like off of I don't know, I like Prime Mover, Lock and Key, and off of Hold Your Fire. Those are some good, some of the '80s Rush. Um, I made Lessons off of 2112. That's a straight heat. Cinderella Man off Farewell to Kings. My God, what a song! You could, boy, howdy, like, I could go on forever, like, just picking Rush songs for people to listen to. I mean, you just pick your poison. Like I said, Roll the Bones, Counterparts, Test for Echo, the '90s albums, like, those are my favorites. Pick a song off there, you can't go wrong. It's just like, it's Rush. I mean, it's great. It's just wonderful music. So, that's my fourth favorite artist band. Old Swaggy T he'll put you on something you aren't ready for.
That's right. We're talking about the man. It's funny you say something you ain't ready for. This is a man that ran 2004, and the reason I rhymed that because it's MF Doom, and I was a little late to the game. Considering my age, I don't think, like, 13 and 14-year-olds in high school are just like, check out this MF Doom up until after he passed away, which was unfortunate. But I wound up finding him in my late teens, early 20s, and he blew me away. Um, One of the best just writers and rap ever. Um, and with that being said, we're going to start off with Harley's favorite album from him, Foods Potholders. Came out in one of the four albums he put out in 2004. But he's more known for putting out two of the best underground hip hop albums that same year. That being said, number four is going to be Retarded Friend, which he definitely has some oddly named songs, but this is from the collab album JJ Doom that came out in 2011, and it's a strange song, but it's got a kind of a classic boom bap kind of feel to it. So if that's your thing, you would definitely like it. Number three is going to be from his 1999 release, Operation Doomsday. It's a song called Gas Draws, and another that's kind of like the introduction to him as like what he was going to be moving forward. Just like, he's the villain. He does what he does. Um, Again, insane lyricism going throughout the song, punchline after punchline after punchline. Number two and one are both from, in my opinion, the best rap album ever made, Mad Villainy. But number two is Rhinestone Cowboy, the closing track to the 2004 release, and it's an absolute masterpiece of a closer. for a hip hop album. It's very operatic. There's a string section sample. That's what you get with the Mad Lib production. And I don't think there's ever been a rapper that can sound that works on a Mad Lib beat the way that MF Doom did. So just a match made in heaven. And number one, my favorite song from him from the same album is Money Folder. And again, like on surface level, you don't really think there's anything that special about this song, but there's just something about it. Like everything that is Doom is on this song. Whether it be the goofy punchlines, the misdirection of like him leading with like half a bar, thinking he's going to rhyme something with something else and just take you a complete different direction, but it still makes sense. And it's an art of misdirection that really makes him very entertaining to listen to. But you have the aggression, you have obviously his beat selection, even though like Madlib produced the whole album. I've never heard him on a bad beat. He just has a really good ear for what he's going to sound good on, and yeah, he definitely took advantage of that throughout his career. Rest in peace to him. My honorable mentions is going to be "Get You Now," which isn't him by himself. It's back when he was in a rap group called KMD, and it's from the album Black Bastards. It was released in 2000, but it was recorded throughout the mid 90s before his brother tragically passed away, and they got dropped from their label because of that. And but anyway, the second is Hoe Cakes from. I highly recommend that. It's a very fun song. It shows you don't never really took himself seriously, just like as an artist, but like he didn't really have to. I mean, the music spoke for itself. Hoe Cakes is from Food as well, and Strange Ways from Mad Villainy. It's a anti-war song, and you don't really hear a lot of like anti-war songs in hip hop as much as you do. I mean, they used to be. You know, hip hop was a very politically charged genre, and you know, it's not so much anymore these days. But that was a very politically charged hip hop song, considering the time it came out. But with that being said, go check him out. Hogmaster, what you got for number? Trace.
Well, boys, ladies and gentlemen, it's Saliva. That Survivor sitting on.
God damn it.
My third favorite artist, and I'm not even gonna, because people listening, and Trevor said he told me that one of our old high school buddies on Ethan Orr was listening. He's gonna like this one. Um, so this artist, he's the goat. Greatest all time ever do it in country, in my opinion. Like, can't beat him. It's the one and only, the King, George Strait. Um, you know, we're just gonna say any George Strait song is a banger. Can't go wrong with any selections. And I just went for it. I mean, I got some deep cuts, and there's, of course, there's just some songs you just can't leave off, and that is what it is. Like I said, like if you take a George Strait and you want to exclude the number one hits, there's 70 songs out of his catalog gone. If you want to take hits, like top 10 hits, there's about 105 songs. That's over 100 songs out of his catalog gone. So, like, you just gotta, you're gonna have hits in there, like, and there's gonna be, deep cuts. I have a few on there people might not have heard of, and I suggest to check them out. Check out any George Strait album, because there's songs on there for everybody. Like, even Trevor wasn't a country fan, and I got him on George and showed him deep cuts, and he got into it. So, like, I promise you, there's something back when Trevor wasn't as open minded. So, like, I promise you, there's a George Strait song for everybody. So, anyways, with that said, I'm going number 5 is "Sitting on a Fence" off the 2013 album. Love Is Everything. Um, I mean, can't say. Yeah, it's one of those. It's just so catchy. It's a little up, like it's a little bit more upbeat. It's the lyrics just get you every time. It's like, and I understand like George Strait didn't, which in his later years he's wrote. He got back to writing songs. So like, over the last 15 years, he's wrote a good bit of songs on his album, and the storytelling's phenomenal. His damn like the way he portrays songs, like especially this one, it's just like it just puts you in there, like it locks you in. You're like, damn, I'm into the story. Like I gotta listen to this, like see the outcome. Then we got some oldies. Lover in Disguise off of his second album, Straight from the Heart. What man? That's probably his best singing performance because he hits some notes at the end of it that just it gives chills to me every time I hear it. Third is a song off his first album, Straight Country, in 1981, called Friday Night Fever. Man, me and Jax, my sibling, like we have listened to that song probably 200 times a piece. Like, dude, it's just a classic. Um, and I couldn't leave this off. Motherfucking Amarillo by Morning. You can't think of George Strait without thinking of this song. I mean, and what's crazy is like we talked about episode a few weeks ago. Like this wasn't even a number one hit for him. That's insane. But Amarillo by Morning. If you've heard George, you've heard this song for sure. My God, just what it's like. I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing about it to that people haven't already know about it. One of the greatest country songs ever. And a fun fact, it is a cover song. He did not originally do that song. His wasn't the first version. Most people don't know that, but there's a little treat for you guys. And my number one favorite George Strait song is from the 2009 album. Oh boy, howdy. The song gets me emotional. It's from the 2009 album Twain. It is Living for the Night. That might be the saddest George Strait song. If not, like it gets you. It gets me every time, especially when I was younger and drinking and listening to him, and I was crying, and it put me in there, brother. Like that's definitely you know, like a lot of people with country, they're like, oh, it's too sad, but if you're like me and you're addicted to the misery, you like the sad songs, like "Living for the Night" by George Strait. Listen to it, and then honorable mention all of them. What it like pick an album. It doesn't matter. Like Honky Tonk Bill, I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay, there was one number one on there, Cowboys Like Us, and then a top 10 hit, Desperately, which is a banger. Um, there's some songs on that like Heaven is Missing an Angel, 4 Down, 12 Across, My Infinite Love that ends the album. Man, like beautiful songs. Like, uh, then like Honky Tonkville. That's an underrated album to me. The Road Less Traveled in 2001. It's the one it had She'll Leave You with a Smile and Run on there, and Living Well. But there's some other stuff like Don't Tell Me You're Not in Love off the Road Less Traveled. Listen, if you haven't heard that song, you need to. It is great. I mean, it's an icon. Like it is like it's like the epitome of a great George Strait song. And which I will also say the last one. I'll say two more. And I'll let Trevor take over. He also has another song called "She'll Leave You with a Smile." It's the same song title, but it's off "Carrying Your Love with Me" from '97, and that's a low key banger. It's a lot sadder than the other one. Um, But I will say the last George Strait dick riding thing I will say today is uh, Merry Christmas wherever you are. That album, like it's a Christmas album. I'm usually not a Christmas person, but I love it, and I love like the title track. I have to listen to it every Christmas because I'm a sad boy. You know, Merry Christmas wherever you are is just it's top notch. My favorite Christmas song, and yeah, that's my third favorite artist is Mr. George Strait. So
Mm-mm. Yeah, all that just to not talk about the fireman. But no, but
leave
we're
out
gonna
the
change it
flavor.
up. Well, my my third favorite band, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna be talking about some '90s music, and this is my second favorite '90s band. We're talking about Soundgarden and the wonderful Chris Cornell on the vocals, and not to discredit anybody else in the band at all. Everybody did their part wonderfully, and I would say of the big four of quote unquote grunge. Um, I'm not going to try to have this argument about grunge not existing today because I'm just too tired. Um, but Soundgarden would be the most experimental, well, of the big four of the '90s, and as a good example of that, my fifth favorite song from them is from their 1989 "Louder Than Love," and we're talking about "Gun," third song on the album, and I imagine people in 1989 that heard this, they either loved it or hated it, and there was no in between because it's not made to be inclusive to people. It's made to be like, we're making music that we like for us, and you either love it or you don't. And I fucking love Soundgarden. So I highly recommend Gun. It's a just absolute just slugfest to your ears. It's a one in the best way possible. My fourth favorite song by them is a bit of a change up because they don't really make the same song twice like a lot of bands do. Um, it's from their 1996 release, Down on the Upside. We're talking about one of the biggest hits from that album, if not the biggest hit from that album. Burden in My Hand. Um, it's a very fun, um, not exactly sure what kind of guitar Kim's playing, but it's got a I don't even like I don't it's not it doesn't sound like a regular guitar, but it's like almost maybe a dulcimer of some sort, but they're playing it on the intro to it, and it's kind of like that mid '90s Soundgarden sound when they got a little bit more mainstream, but it's still one of my favorite songs they ever did. Number three is going to be from the 1994 album Super Unknown. I'm talking about Fourth of July, and it's more of a fan favorite than it is a hit, but just good lord, if you haven't heard Fourth of July, like I can't really describe it. Like you just need to hear it, and it was my favorite song for a long time up until Harley was actually showing me more of their deep cut stuff, and I realized that there's a lot more to them. So I have him to thank for them being my third favorite band to begin with. Number two from the same album is Mailman, and Mailman is another one of those kind of like Gun. It's just a slugfest to your head the entire time. Nobody really ever viewed Soundgarden as a band that was heavy, which I think is bullshit. They can get heavy. Like people trying to say Nirvana's heavier than them is I highly doubt it. Um, no, they could get very very heavy when they wanted to, and Mailman is a great example of that. And my favorite song from them, from my favorite album they ever made, Bad Motor Finger, 1991. Room a Thousand Years Wide, track 8 on the album. It's beautiful. Like I don't really know how else to describe it. I mean, they made a damn saxophone metal, and you know how hard that is to do. he like he just like at the end of the song, and like it sounds like I'm making fun of it. I'm not. It's amazing. And if again, I really just recommend listening to the entire Bad Motorfinger album. But if you want to hear more on that, go check out our 1991 video, and I'll go. You'll hear me go more into detail. I'll leave a card up in the video around this point. And yeah, like Chris Cornell, in my opinion, is the best singer that ever lived. And I'm not the only one that feels that way, but you know, and yeah. So like I said, Chris Cornell, my opinion, best singer of all time. But we're gonna take it to Harley for numero dos.
All right, y'all. So my second artist of all time is Alice in Chains. Um, I mean, it's the first time I remember my dad bought the music video bank. He brought it home, put it in the DVD, and I remember being 5 years old listening to it like, what the hell's going on in my life? It was like it changed. I was like, this, like, it was the first time I was like, damn, this is what I want to listen to. Like, this the music, like, it's doing something for me. So I was like, Alice in Chains has just always been there for, like, always been up high for me. Yeah, second favorite artist. And I'll go my fifth favorite song. This one was also hard for me to pick their song. I knew my favorite song, but picking the other ones are kind of hard. It was hard. So I'm going number 5, Sunshine, off of their debut Facelift from 1990. Um, it was a song written for Andrew Wood of Mother Love Bone. Beautiful song. Uh, I mean, it just hits hard, and I have a lot of sentimental attachment to it. So number 5, number 4 is Junkhead. I talked about in our video yesterday from the albums of 1992. I talked about Dirt, talked about that song, how much it means to me because I've been through stuff, you know, and it's just, I relate to it. It helps. Number number 3, my third favorite song is God AM or God Am, and which in the song, you know, it sounds like goddamn, but uh, yeah, like that's my dad had a live album, and I remember listening to it, and that was on there. I was like, whoa, man! Like I remember listening to it nonstop as a kid. I was like, this is awesome, and it still hit. Like it's it still hits for me to this day. I love it. Um, Number 2 is off their third album. The third LP is a self-titled, or some people refer to as the Three-Legged Dog album. Alice in Chains. The song is Sludge Factory. Motherfuck. I know Trevor has this real high on his Alice in Chains songs. I mean, brother, if you're an Alice in Chains fan, like Sludge Factory is the one to listen to. It's a damn great album. Uh, Number 1, my favorite song of theirs is Sea of Sorrow. Just it was the first time I listened to it. Like I remember hearing it the first time, like seeing my life. It's like holy shit! Like the guitar solo in there from Jerry Cantrell is phenomenal. The bloke, you know, I talked about yesterday, Sean Kinney, top 5 drummer of all time. Kick rocks if you disagree, or listen to him if you don't think I'm right. Like, dude's one of the best to ever do it. Like, the drumming in that song is carries it. I mean, like I said, guitar solo. I mean, hell, the bass, Mike. So, like, everything in that song is perfect. It's my favorite, hands down, Alice in Chains song. Some honorable mentions are Wood from Dirt, Damn That River from Dirt, Bleed the Freak from the first album. I mean, you can go like the whole SAP EP I talked about yesterday, like In My Inside, Right Turn, Got Me Wrong again's a good. It's a great song. Probably the only metal song to go doot doot. Yeah, like to have a doot doot in there and like actually get over. Um, even the newer stuff, like when they brought the new singer in, Black Gives Away to Blue. Man, that's a man. That album is some good stuff. Like Private Hell, When the Sun Rose Again, Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. Shout out Ben McGee. He really loves that album. One of my friends from my old job, we got onto that album, like listen to Phantom Limb, Hung on a Hook, Choke, man, like those albums are good. Like any Rainier Fog is a great album. Like any damn Alice in Chains, like you can't go wrong. If you like Alice in Chains, you can just listen to whatever album EP, like it's gonna bang. And that's about all you can say about them. And before I give my, because like I said, I'll give a little insight. I have said I have two number one bands, and it's Black Sabbath and Counterparts, and they're tied. I'm not like there's no one and two, like they're just both one for me. And I'll get into that though. I'll I will share my songs and opinions whenever after Trevor gets done with his. So we'll kick it back.
So after Soundgarden, my number two band, well, artist of all time, he's my favorite rapper, and he's a big reason I started, doing hip hop myself. Aesop Rock, and before you say it, no, it's not ASAP Rocky. I understand the confusion. I really do. I've I've had this conversation with a lot of people, but no, Aesop Rock. He is a the biggest difference between them is Aesop Rock is white, ASAP Rocky is black, and they're both from New York. They're both great rappers. They both met each other. They're cool with each other, so it's not like they're a big rivalry. I like both of them quite a bit myself, but Aesop Rock is by far my favorite rapper I've ever heard, and he is the kind of rapper that like he makes you kind of actively work while you're listening to him, and it's like a challenge. And for me, I'm fucking weird. I like a challenge when I'm listening to music. I like to be because just as being a musician, like I like the challenge of like trying to learn a song or like trying to understand what the hell someone is saying in hip hop if it makes sense. And Aesop, it's almost like esoteric, especially in his early music, but there's also a lot of gems in his early music. My fifth favorite song is another double song from the 2002 Daylight EP, Daylight Nightlight, and it's essentially the same song, but it's just one. Daylight's written on a more positive beat with more positive spin to the lyrics, and Nightlight is a more pessimistic beat on a more pessimistic kind of like it's written more pessimistically, but it's the same exact song, bar for bar. It's just exact opposites as far as it goes. It's mirror reflection. I like it quite a bit. It's very interesting concept for a rap song as a whole. Number four is from his 2000 album Float, um, commencement at the Obedience Academy, and I'm gonna be going more for his deep cuts. I mean, there's gonna be a couple hits here, but I mean, for what he has, I mean, like as far as like hits go, for an underground rapper, but Commencement at the Obedience Academy was one of his first big fan favorite songs, and he's even got the lyrics to it tattooed on his forearms: "Must not sleep, must warn others." And yeah, I highly recommend it. It's very bouncy, very fun song. Number three is the title track from the 2007 "None Shall Pass" album. Probably his biggest hit. That was the first song I ever heard by him, and the music video is interesting. It's very artistic, and a lot of his music videos are very like that abstract kind of artistic vibe to it, and it's very strange in nature, but interesting. You're not going to be bored watching an Aesop Rock video at the very least. Always something going on. But None Shall Pass was the first song I ever heard, title track from that album. Very fun song. Number two is a more depressing cut from the 2012 album Skeleton, and the song is Cycles to Gehenna, which is essentially kind of like a POV into his life after he lost one of his best friends to lung cancer. And he's just pretty much riding a motorcycle around town, just not a care in the world, doesn't really care if he crashed. That's what I took from the song. It's just basically like losing so much. And that whole album is very, very good. It's very, very cathartic kind of listen, but it's a very painful listen if you aren't ready for it. The whole song, the whole album pretty much just deals with death. And then my favorite album from him is 2016 Impossible Kid. I recommend listening to that entire album. Like there's not a skip on it. Skeleton has a few like parts for me where it kind of like um it doesn't really hit my fancy nearly as much as the Impossible Kid does. But number one is from the Impossible Kid. It is a ballad about both of his brothers called Blood Sandwich, and he tells a story about the first verse of the song is his brother he's playing in a little league game, little league. He, little league. No, he's playing in a little league game, and a groundhog pretty much comes out of the ground, and everybody on both sides saying, "Oh, it's so cute," and it stops the game, so the coach gets pissed off, grabs an aluminum baseball bat, beats it to fucking death, and throws it over a fence. This is something that actually happened to his little brother. And then the second verse is him talking about his big brother wanting to go to a ministry show, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ministry. I'm not just a massive fan of them myself, but they're industrial metal band from like 80s, 90s, did some stuff in the 2000s. I think they're still around. Al Jorgensen's their singer. Anyway, Big Brother wants to go to a ministry show. His mom figures out that they're not Christian, says no, and he threatens to kill himself. And that's pretty much the whole second verse. It's just teenager overreacting about something that's not that big of a deal. But still, it's just like it shows that realistic side of life instead of it being like so over the top. It's like things that have actually happened. And I was speechless the first time I heard it, even though that song has nothing to do with me. I don't even have like blood brothers. Like Harley is my brother, but that's a whole different thing. Like, but just that kind of a situation being written into a song so like bare bones, it'll take you aback. And a lot of his songs are like that, especially from his newer albums. But I highly recommend my honorable mentions. Like I said, the entire Impossible Kid album. Salt and Gauze. There's two different songs. Salt is a song. Gauze is a song from Spirit World Field Guide. Came out in 2020. Citronella from None Shall Pass. Um, all of the collaborations he did with MF Doom. I highly recommend all of it. Really, his entire discography. I like, in my own opinion, like he's never put out a bad album, bad song, nothing. But it's all up to opinion. But with that being said, Harley has two number one bands because he can't separate them. So I'll let him get into that.
Yeah, I'll do 1B and then let you do your number one. I know who it is. Can't ruin it for everybody. Then I'll do my 1A and we'll get on down. Yeah. So 1B, my first favorite band of all time. Before I find the second number one, is Black Sabbath. Surprise, surprise, people who know me. This one was hard. I know my favorite song is my favorite song of all time, but the other ones I was like, what should I put in here? So what I did, I talked to my dad. I was like, look, I'm just going to do Ozzy era. And no disrespect to Dio. I love the Dio era. Like, promise you, this honorable mentions. I just was like, look, I'm just going to do Ozzy. And then, I'll talk about Dio stuff later. But Black Sabbath, number 5, I'm going National Acrobat off of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album. Yeah, you got the riff master Tony Iommi. Like, I don't know what else you have to say. Like, Geezer Butler writing lyrics, like, beautiful. I'm like, wonderful composing. Like, it's just a banger. Number 4, I kind of did this. I just put these two songs together because, like, I don't think they're necessarily supposed to go together on the album, but they're track 6 and 7, and it's like they flow in together so well, and it just sounds like one whole song. And it, yeah, it's Lord of This World, very underrated Sabbath song, like Lord of This World, and then goes into Solitude. I mean, two of the most very underrated Sabbath songs. Most people probably don't know them, unless you're like a Sabbath fan. Listen to the albums, but yeah, Lord of This World, Solitude off of Masters of Reality. Shit, check it out, brother. Get on that shit. Because they're very different than a regular Sabbath song. They're, like Lord of This World is more. It is more of a, like, it's a standard Sabbath song. I guess just like sludge, like going through mud, like it's just badass. And then Solitude's it's a real slow song. And but then I go into one a lot of people say is a trash album, but it's my second favorite album of theirs. Um, the last studio album they did with Ozzy in the '70s, Junior's Eyes off of Never Say Die. What a man! Like I can't put it into words. Just if you enjoy Sabbath, go listen to Junior's Eyes. The solo, Tony Iommi just loses his fucking mind on it. It's wonderful. Like, it's perfect song. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, the fucking riff. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's about my explanation for it. Like, the riff, big PP riff on that one, brothers. And it's like 4 songs in one. It's just like it changes so much. It's fucking fantastic. Uh, my favorite song, my number 1 song from Black Sabbath, my favorite song. It's also tied with a counterpart song for number 1 of all time, Megalomania off of Sabotage. Holy shit. It is a 9 minute and 43-second masterpiece of a song. Uh, you know, it's slow. Okay, if you listen to it, you just have to listen to the whole thing because I've talked to Trevor, like, I showed it to him back in the day, and he listened to like the first 4 or 5 minutes, and he's like, or 4 minutes, he's like, this is slow as hell. Like, it's good. He's just like, it's just slow. And then, like, all of a sudden it picks up, and he's like, I didn't know Ozzy could sing like that. And that's all I can say, dude. It is one of the best. Oh, I love that song so much. Like, like, the lyrics themselves are just, it's Geezer Butler. I mean, one of the best songwriters of all time, probably behind, in my opinion. He's probably top 3. I mean, number 1's Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. That's a different story. But yeah. Yeah, Megalomania by Black Sabbath. Best song to me all time. Listen to it. Like, you can't go wrong with it. It's uh just one that, like, it's just phenomenal. Like, I don't know how many other words I don't know the words to do it justice. It's one of the best. And then we'll let Trevor do his number 1, and then I'll do my last one.
That's right. So, if anybody's ever met me and gotten to know me for more than long enough to ask me who my favorite band is, it's time to buckle the fuck up because you've made a mistake. It's time to talk about Primus. Um,
Promise.
so, I mean, truth be told, like, I could talk about most of Les Claypool's solo acts, probably just lump everything together into being my favorite, but of all of them, I mean, the obvious choice is Primus. Although I do recommend Les Claypool and the Holy Mackerel, which is pretty much just him playing. He plays most of the drums on that album anyway, but he plays a good bit of the guitar. And there's only a couple people like Jay Lane's playing drums on it. That's the original lineup from like '88 and all that. But we're talking about the man himself. He's obviously going to be known more for Primus than he's known for anything else. But Number 5, we got, oh boy, old Cushy is the special guest. And number 5 is Frizzle Fry from their 1990 release, Frizzle Fry. And if you didn't know, a lot of people don't know, Wes Claypool was in a thrash band with Larry Lalonde, Blind Illusion. And you definitely get to hear them in their thrash bag a lot on this album in general, but especially on this song. The outro breakdown, highly recommend it. Number 4 from the same album is Mr. Know It All, and that's easily the heaviest I've ever heard Primus get. And I've only listened to their discography multiple times, um, but anyway, no, if you haven't heard Mr. Know It All, I definitely recommend it. It's more of a goofy, like the way Les plays bass is going to be just very goofy in nature, and that's definitely a good example of it. He's going to be tapping and slapping and picking and grinning and just having a good time with it. But number 3 is from their 1995 Tales from the Punch Bowl. That's Harley's personal favorite album of theirs. Um, we're going to talk about Southbound Pachyderm, which is one of the hits off the album, but it's my personal favorite song on it. Talking about the other piece of it being a power trio, Tim Alexander, affectionately known as Herb, thank God he's doing okay because he's been having a few heart issues, and I don't want to jinx anything, so we'll just stop talking about that. But he plays probably my favorite just drum piece I've ever heard in anything. And I understand, Neil Peart is to me is the best drummer to ever live, but what Herb did, especially just all over that album, but like Southbound Pachyderm and You're the Parrot, as two of the best drum lines or just drum beats I've ever heard in a song. Period. And that's even outside of my own bias. But number 2 is from an album that really doesn't get the respect it deserves out of the discography. It's '97, the Brown album, and we're talking about Fisticuffs, and it's the second track on the album. And if you haven't heard it, I highly recommend it. Need uh, you need to listen to it. It's more of a deep dark kind of song, and when Primus is always good no matter what to me, and that's definitely biased, but they're at their best when they're writing about something dark, malevolent, something less goofy and more like serious and twisted. Like that's usually when they're in their bag, when they're talking about that. And this Fisticuffs is a song kind of about a couple people that they love to fight, and then at the end of every verse, it's very kind of like it feels almost like something you would hear in a musical, but it's tasteful. And this is coming from someone that does not like musicals in any way, shape, or form. But number 1, my favorite song from Primus, probably my favorite song of all time, and kind of an odd pick, but it's from their 1991 release, "Sailing the Seas of Cheese." It's going to be 11 is the name of the song. And it's not the numbers; it's just the word 11 spelled out. And it's not really written about anything in particular, but as just the instrumental, what they did on that album as a whole, and what they did on that song especially, I feel like that is just the magnum opus of everybody playing to the best of their ability. That or Southbound Pachyderm. I mean, everyone's just having. I mean, you're never going to hear a song that's low effort out of Primus. No matter how goofy it is, it doesn't matter. You go with something like Over the Falls, where it feels like something you'd hear in a fucking honky tonk, or something like The Press Man, which is definitely metal in nature. Then you have something like Natural Joe off the Antipop, and the Antipop. I mean, you had songs on there like produced by damn Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, and we're just going to set the record straight real quick. Limp Bizkit is a great band, and if you don't like that, fuck you. And Harley will tell you the same thing.
Oh yeah.
But I could go on and on and on and on about Primus, but for the sake of not being rude about it, we're going to let Harley talk about his other favorite band?
Boy, howdy. So, my favorite band of all time. This is a band from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. It's motherfucking Counterparts. This, man, what this did for me, finding this band in 2017, like it was on Twitter. I was going through there, and like a bunch of my friends I met on that that live in Nashville. They're like, oh yeah, they were talking about it, and then it was like, here's the new single, the lead single from this is 2017. It was the lead single um, called "Bouquet" from Counterparts, and I was like I heard the name, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give them a chance, listen to it, like actually get into it, and thank God I did, because man, what a damn, what a band they are. It's they're some people say metalcore, hardcore. I say metallic hardcore. Um, Technically, they are metallic hardcore. They're whatever, got a lot of melodies, but there's heavy breakdown, like ass beaters. Everything about them is perfect to me, and yeah, like some people, like I guess if you're not into the screaming music, then it probably ain't for you, but you know, that's your personal battle, not mine. Um, like Counterparts, this, like I have my favorite song, and I honestly, there's some songs. So what I did was my honorable mentions. I'll just do them first, because what I could have done, because genuinely, my favorite songs, Counterparts has this thing. If you're a fan of them, like they have this thing where the ending song on each of their albums is the most like heartfelt, gut wrenching song, and generally it's the best song on the album. And I left those two of them. I didn't leave. Two of them made the list because I couldn't help it. But I just go ahead and say, like, off the first album, Profits in 2010, Digression, uh, a it's beautiful song with a wonderful intro, and it's just the lyrics. It's the lyrics for Counterparts. Like the music is great, but Brendan Murphy is one of the best songwriters of all time. Like I love him. Their second album, which Brendan shits on. Like if you follow him on Twitter, you're like, like he shits on this album. He hates it. He's actually like tweeted at me. Like he's actually like interacted with me on Twitter, because I'm like, that album, I'll be like, this album sucks or whatever. And he's like, yeah, but there's like, he says there's 5 good songs on there. And one of them is the last song on the album called Reflection. Holy shit. What a great song and an album closer. Like they have perfected how to close an album. The third album, The Difference Between Hell and Home, 2013. The last song is Soil. Um, just about a 6.5 minute song. Just, well, it'll tear you up. It's God, it's one of the best songs ever. A lot of people, talk about it as one of the best Counterpart songs of all time. The fourth album, The Tragedy Will Find Us, they ended with a song called Solace. And you better be in the right headspace before you listen to it, because it will make you emotional. Um, it's a tough one. And then my other two, like from You Not You Anymore, the last song, I'll get to it. And then the last album they put out in 22, a eulogy for those still here. I have that last song on there, but the last song on Nothing Left to Love is a title track, Nothing Left to Love. Oh, it's a beautiful song. It's like there's clean singing. and there's some script like tasteful screaming in there, and it'll get to you. It's so good. But yeah, like I said, they just perfected how to close an album. That's all I can say about that. But my five, like I'll go with my five favorite counterparts is a memory misread off of You're Not 2017's You're Not You Anymore. Just just an absolute heater. It just gets in there. I will say one off that out off You're Not You Anymore. There's a song. They always have a song on each album what they call their ass beater, which is about maybe a 2 minute song that's just like in your face, and it just I mean it just beats your ass like it's the mosh pit song. Thieves off of You're Not You Anymore. Shout out Jax again. Like that song's great. It'll it'll get to you. Like it'll get you in there. Um, then my fourth favorite is Debris off of The Difference Between Hell and Home. Just a damn. It does have some side aspects to it. It just gets me. It got me through a tough time, and it's like every time I listen to it, I'm like, whew, I can feel my heart tremor a little bit. And then the ass beater off of Nothing Left to Love is Your Own Knife. Holy shit. By God, that'll get you if you're upset like that song will get you. It'll get you there, like get you motivated to fight the world. And then my last two songs are number two, A Mass Grave of Saints, which is the ending track off the last album. They put out a eulogy for those still here. It's just and actually like the bass player actually wrote that. He wrote the whole song, like the lyrics and the music. That's definitely A Mass Grave of Saints. Holy fucking shit, what an amazing song. Like I said, if you're into Metallica, like if you not Metallica, it's melodic. I don't know what the fuck. Oh no,
Not
it's not
Metallica.
Metallica. It's not Metallica. It's not Metallica. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking. I don't know. It's been a long day. It's not Metallica. It's melodic hardcore. Is the technical like genre they are. I'm sorry. I apologize for saying metallic hardcore at the beginning of it, but anyways, melodic hardcore is what they are. Like uh, a Mass Grave of Saints, dude. Just whew, boy howdy, it's just that. And my all time favorite. I got this album. I got the logo tattooed on my arm. I have the initials of Y and YA around the circle. Um, it's the title track from the 2017 masterpiece, my favorite album of all time. You're Not You Anymore. I don't know. Like it, I remember, like the time when I found it, I was dealing with stuff that I don't know. I couldn't come to terms with shit, honestly. And I remember listening to that, and like me and Jax were talking, and you know, Jax is just like, yeah, that person, like, they don't even know, like, it's like you're not you anymore. Like they don't understand, like they don't know who you are and stuff like that, whatever. And like y'all don't even know each other anymore. Like I was like, oh shit, what up? And I was just like, yeah, you're not you anymore. And then that, of course, I was listening to that album and that song, and I was like, it just kind of resonated with me. And then like listen to the lyrics, it just does something. Like it helps me. Like, and every time it pumps me up, it gets me in there. I love it. That's my favorite. It's my favorite kind of heart song. My favorite song of all time. Like that, Megalomania. Those are my favorite songs of all time. And yeah, like that's our favorite artist and our five favorite songs with some honorable mentions. Which pretty much our honorable mentions for all our favorite artists are just any of the discography. But we tried to pick out some songs for other people, to listen to. And if you're into any of those bands, you know, Like if you're into any of those bands or interested, in listening to them, go ahead, like go listen to them, shout us out. Be like, thanks for the recommendation. Y'all the best or what? No, say
We the
what you want about
best.
it. Mm. But yeah, that's about it. Like that's our. If y'all have any more ideas, of course we're gonna be putting out. Um, we're gonna be putting out a weekly video of like a year. Like years. We started with 91 from Colby's idea, and then went to 92, and we got 93 loaded up, ready to go at any point. And we're just gonna keep going like 94, just keep going on in order until like I guess of recently or whatever. Um, we're gonna do that, like keep doing these music. Apparently, like I know we're not getting like just a whole lot of views. Like I'm ahead, we just started off, but we can tell the views are a little bit higher when we're talking about music outside of wrestling, which we understand. Like wrestling's kind of a niche market, but we love it, so we're not going to take that away. But of course, also with all the sports coming up, like we're going to be having longer podcasts, surely, with talking about football, talking about basketball, hockey, all that good stuff. And even
Making fun of baseball.
making fun of it. Even if we listen to debate, like we might talk about the playoffs and in baseball because that's about the only time it gets good to me. But yeah, like that's a little bit of the landscape we have loaded out. We have planned out at the moment, but you guys can comment on the video and tell us if you like these certain, tell us your favorite like your 5 favorite bands and or your top artists and your 5 favorite songs from them. Or, recommend people to listen to this or that. Just talk about music because it's always fun. It's always fun getting to like share your music opinion, and especially if somebody likes it and you're like, kind of can click on something like that. It's always sexy and valid.
Yes. And just getting to share the love with like the shirt, like one of my favorite feelings is being able to show somebody like one of my favorite bands and them actually connecting with them. Like it, because like between me and you, like we don't have like a typical music taste, but it's not like it's just completely inaccessible.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely gems, like all the bands we mentioned and all the music artists today that we mentioned, especially with like people like George Strait. There is a song for you with all of these bands. We promise you. Maybe a while to find them, and maybe like like with Primus, like specifically with Primus, like I understand, like someone said that's not my cup of tea. It's like okay, yeah, well you're just that's it's not for you then because they're not out of everybody listed, and I'm not trying to sound like a hipster or anything like that, but they're easily the least accessible band of everybody mentioned on today. But that doesn't make them like objectively the worst band. Everyone mentioned, I highly recommend. Um, but yeah, that was the end of episode 12. This was our 5x5 fave. Let us know more ideas in the comments section. And with that being said, this is Swaggy Titano and Ye Old Hogmaster signing off.
We know.
Siri, play Despacito.
Alexa, play Despacito. We love you guys. We're going home. I gotta call my wife. Where's my ex-wife? I miss her. I'm coming home, baby. Don't lock the front door.